This is Tales of Argosa. This is what happens if you are a huge Sword and Sorcery fan and you modify the house rules of your D&D 5e game, getting closer to low fantasy and 2nd edition D&D until you end up with a completely new game. But that's okay, that's how most role-playing games are made anyhow. And what I really love about this is just the illustrations. I'm a huge fan of these black and white ink style. Let me show you a few cool illustrations. Throughout the book there's a number of cool illustrations that just perfectly set the mood of the game. This is obviously not Wizards of the Coast's D&D. This is a lot more gritty, a lot more dangerous. I would say this is classic heroic fantasy. This is like Conan the Barbarian, Fafard and the Grey Mouser, Lord of the Rings. Let me quickly mention the rules. Standard generation for character attributes is rolling 3d6 down the line, but if you don't have at least 2 good attributes, 13 or 15, you get to raise 2 attributes to 15 and 13, so the character is at least good at something. Attribute-wise, wisdom has been split into perception and willpower, so can be absolutely short-sighted and deaf, but have very strong willpower. The game knows no saving throws. If you want to avoid anything dangerous, you either make a normal skill check, more on that later, or if it's really dangerous, you have to do a luck roll, which is like an extra attribute, but it's always 10 plus half your level at the beginning of an adventure, because if you succeed at a luck roll, it is lowered by 1 until the end of the adventure. This means that as the adventure progresses, it gets more and more dangerous and interesting. Now, the skill system is a roll-under system. You roll on your attribute, and if you have a relevant skill, you get to add a bonus of 1 point. And sometimes if the skill is actually required, then you can't roll without the skill. But additionally, you get some rerolls at the start of the adventure, depending on your level, that you can use on your trained skills. So it's not that a character with these skills is a lot better at something, but they are much more reliable in applying their skills. The classes are mostly what you would expect from Dungeons & Dragons, but they are much more low fantasy, more savage, if you will. For example, the Bard does not sing and play a musical instrument. Instead, he is a leader of men, giving the party bonuses, using diplomacy. They inspire greatness, they are silver-tongued, they are knowledgeable, they can't cast any magic, they most certainly don't play any instruments. Now, I personally would have just called this the Skald and not the Bard, because I associate Bard with, like, the D&D class in general, someone playing music and doing poetry, and this Bard is quite different, and I like it a lot. The Cleric is named the Cultist, setting the tone on how you relate to the gods and the church. And while they get their miracles, their cleric spells, they're called blessings, and there's only a few of them, making them play much different from a D&D spellcaster who gets a lot of spells. Speaking about the mage, the magic user, they're the class that gets the most spells and can cast the most spells. You roll on a D100 table with 50 spells at the beginning. Depending on your intelligence, you get a number of spells. And these spells are not leveled. You can get the fireball, the Hell Blast, at level 1, and then how much damage it's actually doing depends on your character's level. Or you could get Conjure Entity, conjure a dangerous entity from the void, at level 1. It could be a Brain Burst, it could be a Rain of Stone. Now, if these spells do direct damage, they usually do damage depending on the level of the character, so they are useful at any level, but most of these spells are actually utility spells. So with a bit of luck you can end up at level 1 with a super powerful utility spell like Face Door. But the thing about these utility spells is they are very powerful, but only in a very specific situation, and completely useless in any other situation, so I think it balances out. This game doesn't use spell slots as such, but a magic user cannot cast the same spell more times than their intelligence mod per day. So if you know a huge number of spells, you can cast all of them a few times, but if you're casting the same spell over and over again, you will run out eventually. Also, anytime you cast a spell, you have a chance for dark and dangerous magic, and anytime it is not triggered, the chance goes up by 1. So eventually something bad and chaotic will happen, like Tentacle, a random arm transformed into a branching flesh-colored tentacle. Strength 15, so this could actually be beneficial. Returns to normal after 1d6 days. So this dark and dangerous magic adds a lot of sword and sorcery, chaotic, evil magic flavor, make spellcasting more dangerous, but none of this is so punishing that it makes the character unplayable, so I think it strikes a good balance. The game is also very complete, with downtime activities like cruising and tables what might happen and spark the next adventure, gambling, potion brewing, pets, research. It has diseases, parasites, rules for dungeon crawling, of course, with random encounters in the dungeon, hexploration, with huge tables of random encounters depending on the type of terrain you're traveling through, a huge bestiarium of monsters. Interestingly enough, there are no orcs. Instead, we get the Scorn, known as half-men or beast-men. They're like Neanderthals, and you could of course substitute these stats for orcs if that fits into your gaming world. There are rules for mass battle, for field battles, naval combat, including several types of ships, artilleries, boarding actions, and black powder weapons if you like them. There are oracle tools where you can ask the dice or the card to find out what happens next or help you prepare your adventures. There are solo rules included right away, which are getting more and more popular, I think. There's a pretty elaborate dungeon generator, complete with doors, traps, rooms and corridors. Huge variety of possible traps, loot, of course. Magical items and rules to make more magical items. Honestly, the only thing that I found missing for a game that has hex crawling as its default mode in play is rules to generate random hexes. So either you have to use a hex map that you created yourself somehow or found somewhere else, or use a random hex generator from another game like Shadowdark. Now what's really interesting is the rules for exploit in the combat. Whenever you hit your opponent, you can do to get a bonus effect, like trying to knock him off his feet, grab hold of him, knock the weapon out of his hand or something. If you hit your opponent and do damage, then you can ask the DM for a minor exploit and he will ask for a skill check to succeed with the additional effect. But if you do something that is quite heroic and has major implications, it's called a major exploit, then you will have to pass a luck check. And if you manage to pass it, it can very well end the opponent, decide the battle right away, or at least have a major impact on the battle. But of course, if you succeed in the luck check, you have to lower your luck score for the rest of the adventure. Now, these can be a bit of a double-edged sword. For one thing, they make the players think about their attacks and the possibilities that the environment presents. On the other hand, because they can do it all the time, it can slow the game down. You have to be disciplined about this. Think about your minor exploits before it's your turn, and then resolve them quickly so they don't slow combat down. But if you can do that, this is a very fun rule that makes playing fighters more interesting, but everyone can do this. So even if you're playing a wizard, it might be worth attacking with your longsword and trigger some minor and major exploits. One minor difference to other versions of D&D is that the hit point curve is much flatter. The PCs start with hit points equal to their con score plus a class HP bonus. That's generally 1 to 3 points per level. So the characters will start with somewhere between 10 and 20 HP, so even at level 1 they are not a one-shot and have some survivability, but they won't grow with their HP into triple digits and become unstoppable superheroes. Fighting and monsters will always stay dangerous for the characters, no matter what level they reach. So yeah, this is Tales of Argosa. So who is this for? This is for people who really like Sword and Sorcery and are looking for something that is more low fantasy than 5th edition D&D, but more complex and crunchy than something like OSE or Shadowdark. This hits a sweet spot somewhere in the middle. It's got a nice and streamlined rule set for this heroic fantasy feel. It's beautifully illustrated, and with the core rules you get the complete game. No need to buy 3 books. What other books to use with it? Any campaign world, any hex crawl, any adventure, because as I said, there are no hex crawl world generation tools in this. So you might want to import the world creation tools from something like World Without Numbers or the Black Sword hack. And of course anything that is inspiration to create adventures, like the original stories of Conan the Barbarian or Fafard and the Grey Mouser. This video has been made possible by my viewers. I was able to buy this game and get a print-on-demand copy just from the store credit I got from you clicking on my affiliate links and buying stuff at drivethroughrpg. So many thanks for that. Speaking about print on demand, I was pretty happy with the speed of the printing and the shipping, and the quality is as expected. It's a glue-bound hardcover, solid but nothing special. Well, that's okay, that's what I expected. But the packaging was missing some bubble wrap. It came with all outer corners nicked. A minor issue, but something that I don't like in my very new books and which could be prevented with better packaging. So yeah, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. I wish these safe travels, dreamers. Until we shall meet again.